in 95.7 FM, a ministry of Cornerstone Church. Some of you might be starting to tune in to our Facebook or our YouTube channel. You watch these YouTubers, and they know what they're doing. I mean, they have a few more listeners, just a few more listeners than we have on our LV Cornerstone feed. But I don't like the way that they come on to YouTube and then they wait for, a minute or two and don't say much. Just kind of, hey, get on, man. Just let them get on when they come. We are in 1 Kings chapter 15. I know that it says there chapter 16, but we cut off our program on Friday as we were getting to the end of the 15th chapter. So there's a couple of verses at least that we have to go over there before we cover it. And I want to make sure is that we make a good transition between where we were and where we're going. And this is the place. Now, if you go with me, let me put this up on the screen first, just to let you know, prayer line is open for you right now till 8 o'clock in the morning at 505-425-3717. So that's your prayer line number, and I'll take that number down and put it back up here in a little while. And let's go now over to our scriptures so I can start moving my hands and, kind of doing my... Now, verse 25, we went over this on Friday, but it says, Nadab, the son of Jeroboam, became king over Israel in the second year of Asa, king of Judah, and he reigned over Israel 2 years. So we're seeing these successors to the throne. We have two tracks that are going on, which can be a little confusing to your morning DJ, okay? We got king in the north and king in the south. Right now, the king of the south is Asa. Asa is going to be on the throne for 40 years. So there's going to be on the northern side, there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to come and a lot of guys that are going to go as king over the northern. But over the southern, Asa is going to be there for 40 years. So he comes in as a young man, and he's going to be fairly constant. And if you look at the charts, you're going to see Asa was a pretty good guy. Asa did a lot of good things as king over Judah. But what we're going through as we try to cover this is to show you that things are changing in the north. Now Nadab, the son of Jeroboam, became king over Israel in the second year of Asa. So he takes over from his father Jeroboam. And we know who Jeroboam is. Jeroboam and Rehoboam were the first split kings of the area. Okay. And it says that Nadab reigned over Israel 2 years. And he did evil in the sight of the Lord and walked in the way of his father. And his father was, hello, anybody out there? Who is his father? Huh? His father was Jeroboam, and in his sin by which he had made Israel sin. So once again, Asa's in the south. He's going to be there for a long year. This is only his second year. He's got another 30-some, 40-some years to go. And this guy Nadab comes on the scene, and he's doing the same thing. Now, what was it that Jeroboam, what was some of the things that Jeroboam, what is it when it says he did evil in the sight of the Lord and walked in the way of his father and in his sin by which he had made Israel sin? What was the sin? Well, the big thing was what Jeroboam took over the northern kingdom as he built the two golden calves and put them in different parts of the northern kingdom, and he wanted to keep people from going down to Jerusalem. So they started idol worship, and Nadab walks in the same way. Then Baasha, the son of Ahijah, and we went through these real quick on Friday. Then Baasha, the son of Ahijah, why? Because we were running out of time, of the house of Issachar conspired against him, and Baasha killed him at Gibbethon, which belonged to the Philistines, while Nadab and all Israel laid siege to Gibbethon. So I have no idea what Nadab was doing all the way south of Judah in the land of the Philistines. Not sure what, they're disconnected, from this area, but they're down over there. And Baasha, after Nadab had been king for 2 years, kills him. He killed him at Gibbethon. Well, maybe Gibbethon belonged to the Philistines, but maybe it wasn't in the area of Philistia. Baasha killed him in the 3rd year of Asa, king of Judah, and reigned in his place. So Baasha kills Asa, and then he takes the throne for himself. Now, it doesn't tell us exactly. Maybe in the Chronicles it'll tell us, why he killed him. Maybe he had a contention with the golden calves, but let's find out what it says. And it was so when he became king, verse 29, that he killed all the house of Jeroboam. He did not leave to Jeroboam anyone that breathed until he had destroyed him according to the word of the Lord, which he had spoken by his servant Ahijah the Shilonite. So you remember Ahijah coming up from the south and telling them this is what's going to happen, and all of Jeroboam's family, and God was telling them what was going to happen. You say, well, that's, God didn't say that he was going to do it. All God said it was going to happen, and it happens by Baasha. And all the house of Jeroboam has been killed because of the sins of Jeroboam. You leave the back door open, ladies and gentlemen. Spiritually, you leave the back door open, things are going to happen. You say, what do you mean they left the back door open? We can have the front looking real nice. We can have the facade going on real good. But the enemy's kind of like that. We saw a movie last night, a little girl, away from home, lost in Alaska, pulling on all the doors of the cars to see if any door was unlocked so she could get in because it was raining and it was cold. That's the way the enemy is. The enemy is going to keep on checking the door, seeing if you lock the doors or not. The only way that you really lock the doors, and if these kings would learn that the only way for them to be consistent is to trust in the Lord with all their heart and lean not upon their own understanding. Baasha, kills the son of Jeroboam, and now he's sitting on the throne. And he kills all the house of Jeroboam because of the sins of Jeroboam, which he had sinned, by which he had made Israel sin because of the provocation with which he had provoked the Lord God of Israel to anger. Now the rest of the acts of Nadab and all that he did, and are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the king of Israel? And there was war between Asa and Baasha, the king of Israel, all their days. So now that Baasha is actually the 3rd king of the north, okay, Jeroboam, then his son, Nadab, and then Baasha. And there's war between these 2 kings. In the 3rd year of Asa, king of Judah, Baasha, the son of Ahijah, became king over all Israel in Tisra and reigned 24 years. So Baasha is going to last a lot longer than the person that he kills. But verse 34, last verse of 15th chapter says, he did evil in the sight of the Lord, and walked in the way of Jeroboam, and in his sin which he had made Israel sin. So nobody's taking down the two golden calves. Nobody's saying, what the heck are we doing? How is it that we're allowing this idolatry to come in? Somebody pull out a book of Moses. Somebody pull out, a story about somebody. I guess there was nobody to do it. And when they did it, if they did it, and when they're going to do it, they're not going to pay attention. I mean, they allow idolatry to come into the land. And yeah, it started way back when. And, we cover this every once in a while when we're in this section, 8th chapter of 1 Samuel. Let me tell you what's going to happen. Now we can go into the 16th chapter of 1 Kings. Then the word of the Lord came to Jehu the son of Hanani against Baasha, saying, Inasmuch as I lifted you out of the dust and made you ruler over my people Israel, and you have walked in the way of Jeroboam, and have made my people Israel sin to provoke me to anger with their sin, surely I will take away the posterity of Baasha and the posterity of his house, and I will make your house like the house of Jeroboam the son of Nebat. So Jehu is going to be an important figure. Jehu is going to be around. We're going to see him weaving in between this history lesson, which is more than just his story, but it could be very well our story also. Because you're going to identify, are you going to be a Jehu? Are you going to be a Baasha? Are you going to be an Asa? Where are we going to line up with all this stuff? What's the fruit of the life that we're going to be living? Then the word of the Lord came to Jehu, the son of Hanani, against Baasha, saying, Inasmuch as I lifted you out of the dust. So Jehu has a prophetic word. Is he a prophet? I guess so. Not sure, but he's going to have a part to play. Remember, Jehu is, Elisha is going to be, we're going to be talking about Elisha pretty soon, okay? The word of the Lord came to Jehu, Inasmuch as I lift you out of the dust and made you ruler of my people, you have walked in the ways of Jeroboam and made my people sin. I will take away the posterity of Baasha, the posterity of house. I will make your house like the house of Jeroboam. He says, the same way that you came on the scene and you killed Nadab and you destroyed the house of Jeroboam, the same thing is going to happen to you. There's going to be people that are going to cut out your posterity because you leave the door open. You come in, and Jehu is speaking the word of the Lord to Baasha. The dogs shall eat whoever belongs to Baasha and dies in the city, and the birds of the air shall eat whoever dies in the fields. That's a little disconcerting. You imagine somebody coming to you with that type of a word, and you choke on that one. Now the rest of the acts of Baasha, what he did, and his might, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel? So apparently, let's see if you are really getting ahead on this, looks like 2 Chronicles chapter 16 is going to give us a little bit more information on the acts of Baasha, because Chronicles and Kings kind of shadow each other pretty well. So this is one thing that I took away this morning as I was looking at this. Chronicles had to have been written before the book of Kings was, because they're already referring to it. Not that that's a big deal. Not that that really means anything. It was just something that I stumbled upon and say, So because in my mind, Chronicles finds a latter place in the Old Testament, so I think that sometimes, Chronicles must have been written later, which wasn't true. Now, the rest of the acts of Baasha, what he did, what his might, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel? So Baasha rested with his fathers and was buried in Tirzah. Then Elah, his son, reigned in his place. And also, the word of the Lord came by